let's get this meeting started, folks.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have heard about the air conditioner. Guys, it's too absolutely safe.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Okay, Mr. Detloff.
Here.
Mr. Brower. Here. Mr. Marks.
Here.
Mr. Morgan. Present. Ms. Quinn.
Here.
Ms. Worrell will be here later. And Ms. Wheel.
Present.
Hey.
We have a motion. We have two sets of minute meetings here, so I'm going to do the first one. We have a motion to accept the appropriation ordinance hearing, June 16, 2025, the minutes as presented in our packets.
I'll make a motion to approve board minutes June 16.
Appropriation.
Appropriation.
Awesome. I felt nice being able to share. I'm excited for a second.
And just so that you know, I did get those hand delivered to Mr. Hendrickson at the county office that all days after the meeting, so they are there.
Very good.
Okay, we have motion to approve the previous meeting minutes for the appropriations meeting, which was held on June 16th. Motion made by Ms. Weedle.
Yes.
Seconded by Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
And Mr. Morgan.
Yes. Do we have a motion to accept the village board minutes, June 16th, 2025, as presented in our packets?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, motion to approve the previous meeting minutes from June 16th. Motion made by Ms. Weedle.
Yes.
Seconded by Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
And Mr. Morgan.
Yes. Second, do we have a motion to approve bills for payment and payroll? Oh, well, I didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Gene.
I'm on the list.
Okay, I'm sorry. My
That's
apologies.
okay. I'm representing, of course, the Historical Society. A couple things. We have our golf outing, which is our major fundraiser on September 20th. And I have dropped off a support at the Village Hall with Carrie there, and I hope we can have the support of the village with that and any other businesses in town with their support for our golf outing. This is the only major fundraiser that we have. All other funds that we get are donations from other groups and other people in town. And that supports the Point School and supports the museum downtown. And since we moved the museum, we have a substantial amount of rent there. And then at the Point School, it is on the property of the school, but we own the building. We have to insure it and we have to pay electricity and insurance on that. And then the second part is the project that we have going on at the Point School. 2/3 of that project is done. We have the hitching post has been installed and parts made for it that were broken off of it, and it's been cleaned and sealed. The step for carriage, what we call a carriage step, has been cast there. It's cast out of concrete. It needs to be finished yet as far as doing some painting to the outside of it and sprucing up. And then the hitching rail has been installed as well. And thanks to a couple people from the village and a couple sponsors for some of those things, there we've gotten a little farther ahead than I thought we'd be at this time. The next major part of it would be to put the parking lot, the gravel parking lot into that area and a little bit of trim landscape up around what we've installed. So I'd just like to bring you up to speed on that. And Gary, one of your board members, gave us or let us borrow his concrete mixer, which took hand mixing of 24 bags of concrete down to about 2 hours. with help. So thanks a lot.
Is that it, LG?
That's it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you sign up.
That's all right.
I didn't mean to miss you.
That's all right.
When is your outing?
The 20th, September 20th.
Where at?
It's at Mini Minutes.
And if anybody's interested, can they reach you at
They can reach me, they can reach Tim Fromm, either one of us. We also do have some things at the Village Hall that they can register with as well.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a approval for bills for payment and payroll?
Yes, I move to approve bills for payment dated July 2, 2025 from the corporate general funds in the amount of $58,799.50. Also dated July 2 from the motor fuel tax, $740. Also July 2 from the Fest account, $126.68. Also July 2 from the TIF account, $166,354.86. I also move to approve payroll ending June 21st, 2025, in the amount of $19,915.72.
I'll second.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thanks. Okay, motion to approve bills for payment as follows, dated July 2nd, out of the general fund, $58,799.50. Of the motor fuel tax, $740 even. Out of the best account, $126.68. The TIF account, $166,354.86. Payroll, ending June 21st in the amount of $19,915.72. We have a motion made by Mr. Morgan. Yes. And seconded by Mr. Friedel.
Yes.
Mr. Brower. Yes. Mr. Marks.
Yes.
And Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
Department reports. Clerk Scott Dillman.
This is one of those side jobs that I help with, Christmas Day Incorporated, which is an organization that provides free Christmas Day dinners on Christmas Day at 10 locations throughout Kankakee County. They have a fundraiser, which is their one and only fundraiser, like the Historical Societies, which is a golf outing. That is going to be held at Oak Springs in St. Anne on September 17th. We have our first meeting concerning this coming up Wednesday, but typically it starts off about noon. We ask for groups of 4 or individuals. We can put you someplace if you would like to pay. I do not know the outing fees right now, but I will have all that information at the Village Hall when I get it. So just making that announcement. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Attorney report, Mike Sanchi. We have been speaking to our village attorney about different issues in the village right now. I don't really have any certain thing to report. We are working on the Pippin property, on getting an appraisal done. He's looking into some zoning issues that we are also trying to get an answer for here in the village. Once I have more information, I will provide that to the village board. As far as engineer report, we've been in contact with Neil Piggish. We have some paperwork that we'll be discussing tonight. Hopefully this summer or late summer, early spring or early fall, we will be starting our streetscape project. So hopefully that'll be going. The first thing that has to happen is the gas company has to lower the gas line on Taylor Street. And then the streetscape project will start. The project should last after the gas company is done, approximately 1 year. So it's going to be a long project, and I hope everybody is patient. We're trying to do some beautification in our downtown area. Those are the two things that I have on the attorney and the engineer's report. Ordinances and Insurance Committee Chairperson Susie Weedle.
Yes, first up, I have a first reading on ordinance number O-7-25-1. An ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the village of Beecher. And this is in regards to gifting Beecher our 2006 Ford Expedition vehicle from the police department. Second up, resolution, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number R-7-25-1. A resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code, section number 21-00017-00-PV. Project number DQHQ 958. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ben so he can fill us in.
Basically, this resolution shows that the village can show the Department of Transportation that we are good for the sum of $252,000. This will come out of our motor fuel tax fund. And basically it is for our streetscape project downtown. Being that this is a resolution, I believe we have to vote on it. The board has to vote to approve that when this bill comes up, that we are able to take it out of motor fuel tax, and the board has to decide that. So I'm looking for a motion.
I have the paperwork.
You should have a copy in that packet.
This is all mine from at home.
Looks like that's done.
Susie, you made the motion. I'll second.
Yes, I made the
I'll
motion.
second it.
Read this.
I apologize if you don't have it in the packet, but all the trustees.
packet.
Oh, you didn't pick it up?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do.
Well, then that's why you don't have that information in there. So,
my fault.
okay. Could we answer any questions for you? Basically, what that's saying is we have money in our MFT fund to pay for this. We're showing or providing this packet here that the clerk and myself have to sign, and he has to put a seal on, that we're showing them that we are good for the sum of $252,000. They want to start to work. They want to make sure that we're good for the money. So basically, that's what it's saying there. It's for our beautification project downtown. So to get started, we have to, the board has to approve the $252,000 that come out of the MFT fund.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion to approve resolution R-7-25-1 under the Illinois Highway Code, subtitled our streetscape project. Motion is made by Ms. Weedle.
Yes.
Seconded by Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes.
Mr. Marks.
Yes.
Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
You can, if that's approving later here. No. Move on a little bit.
Okay. Next up is first reading of ordinance number 0-7-25-2. It is an ordinance authorizing a tax increment financing agreement between the Village of Grant Park and Andrea Hendricks.
It's changed. On the printout, it said 1, but just change it to a 2.
Okay.
Is that the one?
Yes, 0.
You changed it.
Yes, to 2.
Okay.
Yes. First reading.
So
Then
that's
I
a
would,
motion to waive it?
yes, I would like to make a motion to waive first reading of ordinance authorizing the tip agreement with Andrea Hendricks, Griffin Gate Farms.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to waive first reading of ordinance O-7-25-2, authorizing a tip agreement with Andrea Hendricks, Griffin Gate Farms. Motion is made by Ms. Weedle,
Yes.
and seconded by Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes.
Mr. March.
Yes.
Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
Motion for second?
Motion to approve ordinance number O-7-25-2.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve ordinance O-7-25-2, authorizing a tip agreement with Andrea Hendricks. Motion made by Ms. Weedle,
Yes.
seconded by Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Brower.
Yes.
Mr. March,
Yes.
and Ms. Quinn.
Yes.
And that is all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. You all set? Okay. Streets and Alley Committee Chairperson Morgan Worrell. Morgan's running a little late this evening, so I have a few things. Do you have something on her behalf?
Yeah, she asked me to, present the stuff that was on the agenda.
Sure, go ahead.
She wanted to say that she has met with, Streets and Alley Steve,
Okay.
and the weeds by the police department have been taken care of, as mentioned by trustee Brower at the last meeting. And then secondly, the 4R tree removal will be out in the next week or so to remove some parkway trees. I'm not sure which parkway, but parkway trees.
We did,
I'm in town this
they
afternoon.
were this afternoon by Brandon's house.
Yeah.
We did have, we're saying Brandon's house, but on Curtis Street near the soccer field, there was 2 trees in a parkway that needed to come down. They were rotted. The resident was worried in a storm they might fall on their house. Being that they're in a parkway, we're liable for those trees.
Okay.
So I had Ms. Worrell and Steve Sullivan take a look and then make arrangements with the tree company when they were available. And they happened to be that day available to come and look at it. And I did hear him this afternoon, and I didn't see him take some wood out to the back to our dump area. So that could be where they were today. So,
Okay, good news.
okay.
I've got one other thing. You're done?
Yes, that's all she gave me to say.
Okay. Morgan and I have been working together on obtaining the leaf vacuum. And as I talked with her today, they've got it in their lot now, and they're ready for us to pick it up. Tonight you approved payment for that, so we will get a check ready, and Morgan will be talking to Steve about when to pick up the leaf vacuum, which could be this week.
Good news.
Yeah.
It is very good news with that. We've been talking for months. We had to find something that we could afford to purchase. We did look at used equipment. I want to thank Mr. Morgan and Ms. Worrell for taking care of that, for Steve to find something that the village can afford. It's a brand new machine. We're getting it from a dealer in Crete. We thought we got a pretty good price on it, but I want to thank the residents for being patient. Last year, our plans didn't materialize on how to pick up leaves. We didn't have a good solution, but in the fall, we will be picking up leaves. I guaranteed that last year, if I had to do it with a rake in a trash bag, that we would pick it up, and thank God I don't have to do that. So we do have a machine. They're going to make something to fit on the back of the Dodge so the leaves can be shot in the back of the bed and taken out to our area in the back by Aqua and taken care of. So I want to thank everybody that was part of this for making it happen for the village. It's going to be well used.
What was the name of the company you purchased? That's sure.
Yeah. They're just south of State Road. There used to be the Harley Davidson. This is now John Deere.
We came up, Steve actually got a copy of 3 different models that more available that would suit the need in the village, and we presented it at a meeting with that I had with Mr. Morgan, and he picked the top of the line out of the three. Actually, there's 4 Rs right now. They're still dumping wood, so they're here in the village right now, cutting trees someplace. But we're lucky to be able to get this. It didn't work out for the people in the village, but I want to say thank you for being patient. Nearly everybody understood that we didn't have the money for the equipment. This year it'll be a different case. Do you have anything else, Mr.
Not on, Morgan's calendar.
Okay, we can only do one thing at a time. I'm going to sign my own paper here. That's all you have. We will move to Finance Committee Chairperson.
I just had a kind of a report. Here's 2 sets of pictures that I'd like to show you of our property that we now have east of town. Back in the day, I thought they had 6 outbuildings, but because it's a jungle there and it's ripe for poison ivy, raspberries, all kinds of interesting things, I could only see 5 buildings.
Is this the Pippin?
This is the Pippin property, sorry, yes, it's known as the Pippin property.
Yes.
Anyway, you can see most of the buildings are pretty much destroyed. The building just east of the driveway has a tree that lashed into it. You can barely see the bottom building where the greenhouse is, but it looked like that part was intact, but we know for a fact there's no glass left in the greenhouse. Trees have grown through, and when I was there 5 years ago, the trees were 2 or 3 inches in diameter. I'm sure they're at least 4 inches in diameter now. The garage had a tree fall on it, and you can see that there's a couch in that picture that's actually in the garage. Looks like it's outside because there's plants all around in the garage. There was a building to the west that I couldn't actually get to because the weeds were so tall. And you can see that it's probably intact, has a door that's open. The other building, the north side, is really big. It's like 25 feet wide by maybe 30 feet long. And it has 3 large lawnmowers and a safe. The other pictures that I've got here are from the inside, which is not a healthy environment. You go in there, you probably ought to be wearing a mask. And I found 1 dead body. It was pretty much gone and not smelling bad. I was glad it was only 1 dead body. Yeah, probably.
You want
Anyway.
to specify that it was an animal?
Yeah, it was a. My question to the village board is, there are antiques. Those are my pictures. The dining room table is huge. It was mostly intact. There's 6 chairs that obviously are part of it. And I would say from my limited experience with antiques, those are probably 19th century items. There's a low boy also in the dining room that looks like it's very much intact. Also, I think it's an antique from the 19th century. Some of the other pieces are maybe early 20th or mid 20th century. But I took pictures of them, and they're very modern file cabinets. New house.
The good stuff's in the back.
Yeah, those are 2 file cabinets. Are very nice. They're really better than some of the file cabinets.
Definitely better than what we look like.
The police station. So anyway, the point is, those antiques in the building add no value to the property. And I think we ought to decide if we're going to take them out and try and sell them. We're going to donate them to the Historical Society. Is there a third option? And we don't need to make any kind of motion or anything tonight. It's just that that's something to consider in the near future. And again, we do have Fraser working on it. He went in with Carl once, and then he was going to get his jungle gear on to go back and try and get through the impassable jungle. You need jungle tools, machetes, and he suggested yeah, things to cut through. And we use that. So anyway, just bring it up to date and give you something to be concerned about as far as.
When do we have to make a decision on the?
We don't have an appraisal of the property yet. Sean, who was a graduate of Fan Park, is the one doing the appraisal. He was going to go back another time. He's working with the old appraiser, assessor, I mean, to get some idea of the value. And again, his problem is that my value of my house is trying to be redone, or his property where he might build another house. So he's having, it's not a simple appraisal, is what he's saying, but he's working on it. As soon as we get that, we have to decide what we're going to do, and then we can decide what we're going to do with some of the. So we've got some time, hopefully not a lot, unless there's another question.
I have one question to Mr. Rayla. If it came to this that we decided to donate something out of the house to the Historical Society, do you have a means to keep that? Would that be something that you would want, or?
The only problem that we have is we don't have any storage area at the present time. We're trying to do some things with some people in town that have storage area. Because we do have some things presently, since Bob Sherman's, moving out of the area that he was storing in his building. We're trying to locate some and get some room donated. But I would say, yes, we would try to take it if we do have the area to store it.
I mean, it would be for the board to decide. I don't know how you would market something that's been in the house for a number of years, maybe exposed to the weather and,
some of these items look like they're still pretty intact. A couple don't.
Yes.
So the under table and a low light and one other piece look like they're pretty decent condition. Some of the chairs are missing some of the ornamentation.
Yeah.
And at least two of the six are intact. There's a baby carriage that a child's toy, not actually for children. That might be a great thing to donate.
Yeah.
Historical Society. And there was a picture of that.
well, maybe in the event, when this comes up, maybe you and Mr. Morgan
Yes.
could look at that, see if it would be something, if the board decide they wanted to sell or get rid of or donate, maybe.
Yeah, we would certainly appreciate it.
Well, we talked about it once that property is cleared, that we could actually take some pictures of the building for the Historical Society. And then I would work with you guys to see if we can find any artifacts
Right.
in the ground that would be turned over to the Historical Society for display for the future. I don't know, when the property is sold, what will happen after that, but we will try to preserve the history, the best we can.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. Mr. Morgan, is that?
That's all. Thank you.
Community Outreach Chairperson, Steve Brower.
Okay, a couple things. Couple meetings ago, we made a presentation about our expenses for the Fall Fest. We had a couple expenses that I'm going to bring up at the next meeting for approval. One is a Dixieland band, and another one is the Spider-Man Paw Patrol photo ops for the kids and everything. The Dixieland band is $700 and the photo op is $400. Both of these events, we've already got sponsors for, which is a matter of getting it motion to approve it at the next meeting. There's no additional cost to us. It's basically free. Also, we had the 5K run, walk and ride on June 29th. In the heat of the day, I should say, it was kind of cool that morning, but we didn't get a lot of participants. Only 10 people showed up, which was kind of disappointing. We took in $180 in donations and we spent $126 on a continental breakfast. Unfortunately, with only 10 people showing up, not a lot of people ate everything that we had to serve. We had coffee, orange juice, apple juice, hard-boiled eggs, sweet rolls, muffins, bananas, and
Very
apples.
nice. I stuffed myself.
And yogurt and little things like that, which would have been great if we had a lot of people. So we're trying to figure out a way to maybe in the future to have some pre-registration done so we know how much food to buy so we don't have this happen again. We did make a profit, which is good, but we want to have a better profit margins on these items. We had 5 people serving as volunteers there, including JD, who also ran. That's a lot of time that we put into it, but they have 10 people show up. It just wasn't the best of events. So hopefully we'll get that corrected at the next race, which is going to be at the end of the month. And 1 second, I'm not playing, that will be on June. Hold on 1 second. Got my calendar up here. I believe it's July 27th, which is the last Sunday of the month. We'll put that in the announcement as well to confirm that. That's all I have.
Advertise party in the park,
Oh, party in the park?
which is Friday.
I'm sorry, you're right. Party in the park is this Friday, which is, what time is that? 6:00. So be coming out for that. I think, KGB band is playing.
Yes.
So come out for that, bring your own chair, bring your own food, bring your own liquids, whatever you'd like. Thank you.
And if it rains, it'll be in here.
There you go.
Is that it, Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Building and Grounds Chairperson, Julie Quinn.
The only thing I have is, this rental policy agreement. I reached out to, the village of Mantino today and spoke with their, representative that deals with their community center, and how they do their rentals. So I just wanted to let you know that there are very similar processes that other villages do have, but they're very stringent on, whether or not people are residents in their village. That was really what was stressed to me most when I spoke to them on the phone earlier today. Until I think we also need to get a committee meeting on the books after you present your outline and then whatever the draft has we get from the attorney. I'd like to get that scheduled before we leave tonight. So in that way, we can talk about it and make sure we're following all the rules that we need to and checking our boxes and dotting our i's and crossing our t's.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we're airtight. I don't wanna keep kicking this dead horse.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it. Thank you. Law Enforcement Committee Chairman, Dennis Martz.
The only thing that we have is that, John Coletti is retiring. And I wanted to, which you've already stressed, I think that we should do the rental of the building like you said, because apparently what I was told was not proper, was not correct. So I fought for something that shouldn't have been fought for. So I apologize to the committee for that. That's all.
With respect to John, he's been with us about 19 and a half years. With all the restrictions now, that you have to go through all the training requirements. A lot of our part-timers would have to take off from their real job to go attend these training sessions, and that's just not possible for him to do. So, at a later meeting, I already ordered him a retirement badge. So at a later meeting, I'll have him come in and give him that.
So how does that affect our part-time or our?
It doesn't at this point. John only really works special events, which he'll still do as a retired officer. He'll help with the burnout contest, with the parade, and with the shop with the cow. So those are really the only activities he helps with.
And then what about our officer that is off? When will they be back? In July this month?
She'll be back the end of the month.
End of the month.
Yep. So before that, it's going to be difficult for a little while. Because she's going to be gone, and I have another officer who's a Little League umpire who's going to be gone for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So we will be challenging for a little while.
Do you know if John's going to continue to inspect the plumbing?
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, it's with the Safety Act and all the requirements, these training things, it's a lot for full timers to keep up with. For guys that have, high powered jobs like he does, it's just not practical for him to take. He can't take a day off, let alone a week. So it's not going to work out. And it was by his choosing, so.
One of the things I wanted to add, I had talked to Chief Fry a couple of weeks ago about cleanup in the village. He made some phone calls and the next day it was taken care of. And what we're trying to do is just to show pride in our community by, if you have weeds in front of your business or your property, clean them up. I can't ask the person next door to clean up theirs unless everybody does it. So he made some phone calls. The people came out and took care of it without any issues. And that's what we want to see. We are putting money into the community to do some beautification projects. And I know weeds aren't a big issue, but it does make it look a little attractive when you come into town and you don't have weeds that are 3 foot tall growing out of the sidewalks. It looks like you care. So I can't stress it enough that I appreciate the effort that everybody does. There are some people, a gentleman that's in here to make sure that things are always taken care of, even along the curb. I see him out there. I'm not going to mention names, even though he's in the front row. But you can't have one person do it, and then I'm not asking the next person next door to do it. So it's just something that we need to work together as a group to continue to show that we have pride in our community. Chief, is that anything you have to add?
No, we did have some success in our adjudication hearing. We had a lot of some kids from town that did some things they shouldn't have done. So Mr. Brower has a bunch of volunteers for 20 hours of community service during the festival. So,
Nice.
and I think we're starting to work on a lot of the businesses in town that have been not keeping up on their thing over the years. We've been on them over the years, but now we're trying to put a lot of pressure on them. It seems to be working. They're starting to get cleaned up, so we're going to continue to keep pressure on them to maintain their property. So just like everybody else.
No, it has made a difference. At the last court appearance, they understood what we were trying to do. This is not to target any particular business. This is to make sure that if you need to comply, you need to comply. We were trying to be good neighbors, but you have to work with us too. So basically I think we're heading in the right direction. There's still a little bit more work to do, but you can see that we are making progress. So I appreciate it. Chief, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. I've got a couple things to discuss tonight. First is we need to decide, this is from the Kankakee County Animal Control Center. In 2023, we entered in a contract with them for $1,000 a year to pick up any stray dogs. But it's only for dogs, not for cats, not for any other animals. We pay additional for that. So we started compiling from when we really kept track of this. So in 2019, we spent, because we didn't have a contract, we spent $435. And then in 2020, we spent $270. And then in 21, we paid $300 because we pay per animal as they come up. In 2022, the most we ever paid was $670. In 23, we paid $1,000 contract, and 24, we paid $1,000 plus $290 for cats to be picked up from the animal control. In 25 so far, we paid $1,000 contract plus $30. So what I'm asking the board at this time, do you want to continue with this contract for $1,000 or pay it on an individual basis?
I have a question.
Yep.
23, we paid 1,000, 24, 1,000, 25 was 1,000. How much did we actually use that contract?
They don't give you a number. They don't say like, we picked up 45 dogs or whatever. That $1,000, when you pay that contract fee, they keep that. They're so that anything that other than a dog, you pay on an individual basis. So if they come and they come like in 24, we did $1,000 contract, plus we paid $290 for the service coming up for cats. So you would pay for any individual animal. They sent us the contract to renew for $1,000 for the next year because our contract is up. So I'm asking the board if you want to continue with this or if you want to pay on an individual basis.
So there's no record of how many times we have used them in the last 3 years.
That's what
I could look it up, but a lot, I'd say probably 15 to 20 times. And what we also get for the $1,000 is after hours, where we would call them out after hours. We don't pay for it. Normally, that's where the real expense comes in. We've been kind of fortunate because we can call them all hours of day or night and they come out. But it's only for dogs. And we were having a big dog problem that now is kind of, I would say it's gone away, but we haven't had as many. We do get a lot of people that pick up dogs in the country and bring them to us. Those we would not get charged for because we tell them this dog was picked up in the county and not in ours, so don't charge us for that. So I think, it's kind of a question. Are we gonna have more or we're not gonna have more? It's a gamble, but I think, we could probably err on the side of doing it on an individual basis as a test and see how it works out. I think it's about $40 $40 to $50 every time we call.
So is that agreeable with the board to do it on an individual basis and pay per call or renew a contract for $1,000? I mean, up to this point in 2022, we spent $670. That's the most we ever paid for. And that's still almost $400 more we're paying for just for dogs that we didn't use that particular year. And everything has been, it started off at $270 and then it went up to $300, $435. And then we did pay an additional last year, $290 on top of the $1,000 contracts for cats.
You get whacked kind of with the additional, because what happens is, if somebody from town pick up a cat or whatever and take it there, they can't accept it until we say it's okay. Well, they're standing there with the cat. So it's like, okay, yeah, I guess and then we had one where they were running amok on a property and we approved that, but only for a short period of time. And that's expensive for the cats. We try to encourage people just to leave them alone, but they can't.
So are you in agreement, board members, to do this on an individual basis or renew the contract?
Individual.
Still a gamble, but yes.
Well, we don't, yeah.
Money. We're saving money, right?
Well, we would be. I mean, we saved, or like I said, with a $1,000 contract, 22, we spent $670, but that's the most we ever spent. And it varies from year to year, but it's only for dogs. So, and I understand after hours, it's more money, but what did we do before we had the contract? We somehow managed. So I don't have a perfect solution, but if we could save a little money, I think this is what we need to do. So is this agreeable with the board?
I think so.
You don't need to vote on it. I'd have to decide whether to pay the bill or not. I'm just wondering your approval, whether to do it or not. Do it.
Yeah,
We'll try it. We'll test it.
I
like the theory.
We'll test it.
I have a question. Can't we take them to that lady? Well, like in moments.
We don't want to transport animals.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't want to get it involved in that, and then we take the liability of.
And that's a rescue. So we're getting someone's dog here that the owner's probably out there somewhere. So that he takes it and they do the
I
work.
mean, we're still gonna take care of the stray animal. We're not gonna hurt the animal. We're gonna find care for it. It's just that we don't need to be spending money as a village. And I could see if we had a big problem. People say, what are we gonna do about the cats? We talked to the animal control. They don't really have a plan. But I still see cats occasionally, but I don't know how big a problem it is. We're not gonna start trapping them because people say, well, trap them. I'm like, then what do you do with the cat?
I'll be honest, I only see one cat in my house, and it's the same cat. So I don't know if somebody else.
A lot of us have pets, and we're not gonna be a community where we're gonna start hurting pets. We're gonna try to find their owners. We're gonna take care of them. We're just trying to watch our expenses here. So if that's agreeable with you, we'll go ahead for the next year, not pay the $1,000, and so let's see what happens, and we'll talk about that in a later date. All right, the next thing is we're going to talk about the draft of the attorney, but it's the same draft as our rental agreement in the office right now. This draft was made up last year by the previous administration. It's the same rental agreement that renters have right now. This is nothing new. So what it has on there is for Grant Park residents, it says you must live within the village limits and pay Grant Park taxes. One of the issues that we had were people would come in and say, I'm a resident and or their brother or sister or someone else will rent the building and they're not Grand Park residents. That money helps take care of this building. So what I'm saying is if you're a resident, pay the rental fee. I have to pay it. Everybody here has to pay it. There's no exceptions to that. So Carrie has right now, for my direction, she asked for an ID to make sure you're a Grand Park resident. Because what was at the start of this administration, it was brought to my attention if we can streamline this, because if you call at the right time or knew the right people, then we got a deal on the rental. This is a business. We're not operating here. This is something that I didn't make up. This was the past administration made this up. And it says clearly on here what organizations are exempt. The American Legion, the Red Cross, the county clerk for elections, the senior community group, the Methodist Ladies, Grand Park Foundation, and the co-op. And that's the only ones that get it for free. I'm going to tell you, just like I said at the first meeting, this is not open for debate. If you want to debate, you can certainly have it. But I'm going to bring up a couple things. When you sign this rental agreement, which you can go to the office and get one, you have to follow everything that says on here, and you're not. When you sell alcohol here, you have to have a liquor license. You're not doing it. When the village sells alcohol, we have to have proof of insurance and a liquor license. When they have, and this is not against an organization or an individual, this applies to everybody. And I'm just trying to be fair to everybody. And so far, it hasn't been. So it clearly says that, and someone says, well, I don't know. Well, you know, first I ever heard about it. Well, when you sign your rental agreement, read it. Then you know that this is what you got to do. Same thing too is if you rent the building, you have to have liability insurance of $1 million. And you have to have a rider on there so the village is not held liable. So if you're selling alcohol in here, someone falls, gets hurt, they don't see the village of Grand Park. You have separate insurance. When you rent the building, you rent the building. You don't rent the grounds outside. I've had people say, hey, we got this rented. You can't play here. It's a public park. The park isn't rented. If you want to have bounce houses, you want to have, and it says right in here, it doesn't count for any of that. It doesn't have, you can't have inflatable equipment. You cannot have bounce houses, slides, obstacle courses are not permitted in the interior or exterior of the community park building. If you do drive stakes in the grounds and put a tent up out there, you're supposed to have a locator. If you sever one of our utility lines, we're not held liable. You're held liable, whoever did that. So there's rules that be in place, but up to this point, I see that the rules don't apply to everybody. It only applies to people they want them to apply to. And that's not going to happen anymore. And then clearly, if someone doesn't believe me, and you could read this draft, or you can go to the Village Hall and pick up a copy for yourself, because it's what we use. It tells about the alcohol sales, about having a liquor license. It says about insurance. If you have an event, you have to have an insurance and you have to have a rider, so the village is not held liable. If you have a party in here and you're selling alcohol, that's, well, then someone says, well, we're not selling alcohol. If you're having a party in here, you're having a fundraiser and you're giving alcohol away, and someone falls in a building, you're not going to sue the village. You have to have private insurance. The village doesn't cover that. We're not promoting that. When we have an event here, we have to do the same thing as the renters do. We have to have a liquor license posted up on the wall. We have to have proof of insurance that we are liable for anything that happens.
Is there anything specifically in there about BYOB? Bring your own beer.
Well, you cannot, if someone walks down the street with a can of beer and walks through the park, how do I control that? You can't.
No.
We're talking about renting the building. I'm not talking about if we have an event going on and someone walks from across the street with a 6-pack of beer and sits here, and I mean, I'm not the police and I'm not going to say, what are you doing? This just covers the rental. Once you rent the building, then you have to follow the rules of the renting of the building.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah,
So I
that's-
can rent the building and have people bring their own beer?
If you rent the building and you have beer in here, they can't be in here. You have to have private insurance on that. If they're outside on that, that'd be no different than being across the street, standing there. That's not my property. When you rent the building, you rent the building itself. You don't rent the grounds. I can't control what people do outside this building, but I can control what they do in the building. And the village cannot be liable for what someone else is. The same thing where you're not supposed to take tables and chairs out. Someone says, well, we're going to take tables and chairs outside. Well, you can't take tables and chairs. That is property of the village that stays in the building. And these rules apply to everyone. So, does anybody have any questions on this? I mean, one of the things that we've had in the past is you're cheating the village by not paying the rent, for one thing. And if you can't afford the rental on the building, then maybe you should look someplace else. Everybody wants a break, but that rental pays for the upkeep of this building. And if it means that much to you to try to not put all the right information down, I have people say, well, we're a non-for-profit, then you have to have documentation. And that documentation allows me to say, where does your money go? How much did you make? Well, we can't even find that when we have a fundraiser. Where'd the money go and how much did you make? I don't know. What? You're a not-for-profit? Where's that information? It's supposed to be on file. So, Carrie will ask people that come in the office for an ID. And if they won't provide an ID, then they can pay the full rate. They can still rent here, but I have to know you're a Grant Park resident. If you're paying taxes, how fair is that? If you're paying taxes and you get a Grant Park rate, you deserve that because you're supporting this community. But you're going to falsify that information. Someone else is going to come and say, well, I'm a Grant Park resident, but you're using someone else's name. We've had that in the past with other renters, and that's not going to happen anymore. So
I think the difference between the bring your own and is the liquor license. If you're selling, you have to have the liquor license and the insurance. If somebody happens to bring their own, you still have to have the insurance. So in that case, if somebody was intoxicated and they fell, your insurance is going to have to cover it, and you're going to have to explain why it's pushed.
I was thinking more like on a private rental, not like a fundraiser.
Yeah, I think if it's a party or something, they're not selling anything, so they can give it up. It's part of the party, they're giving it away. That's different than if you're selling. So I think that the liquor license is a difference in my opinion.
And that's the thing too. And if someone says, gee, I didn't know your signature is on this rental agreement. That's why it's all here. This wasn't brought up by this administration. This was brought up by a previous administration where we paid the attorney to draft this. So it isn't that we put any changes in here.
The binding contract.
The binding contract. So if you want to rent the building, these are the rules that you have to follow. And this is going to make it fair for everyone. This is not to target any individual. If someone wants to challenge it, believe me, it's going to cost you more in attorney fees than it will for the park rental. So does anybody have any questions on that before I move on?
I think it would be a really good idea to summarize some of the bigger of our rules and have a poster printed, so it's, just out of the way and have it hung. I mean, I know we have some that are in the kitchen, obviously, and how you use the wood or how you do that.
Well, but when they go in there to sign up, like for a park rental, they sign
Yeah,
this.
1,000%, yeah, but I mean,
it's all there.
reminders.
I mean, everything's there when they're signing it. Once they put their signature on there, they agree to everything on here.
I know, but I guess it's a teacher thing for me to see, oh, there's a sign on here. Okay, remember, let's do, clean up checklist, end of day checklist. I don't know. It's a teacher thing.
That may be helpful with like what you're talking about with the tables and chairs, poster saying no tables and chairs start to leave the building, things like that, just sort of friendly reminder.
Yeah, you know,
We've had tables here damaged and
right, I remember talking about it. This-
people get on them. They say, well, how do you know there's people walking on them? I said, well, there's footprints on the table. That's why the table's broken. And so when the table is broken, then, you know, we're out that money to buy another table. So the money we get for rental does the upkeep in the building. So
It's like the door, the refrigerator, just keep closed.
Right. I
Yeah, leave it open.
know, I know.
well, you know, yeah, it comes down to
Signs up.
Yeah, you don't have too many.
Got a little, you got a point across. Oh, yeah. Well, just like tape something on the wall, take the table. Look right there. There's all
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah. One time I spent an hour and a half just walking to the wall.
Absolutely.
well, like I said, this is not to target an individual or a group. This is to make it fair for everyone
Right.
in the community. And it's like the lead policy that we brought up last year. If we cannot provide this for everyone, I'm not going to provide it at all because I don't want to be the one to pick. It could be you. I want to be friends with everybody, but sometimes it's a balancing act. So if you make a set of rules, everybody has to follow those rules. The next thing I'd like to bring up is about surf internet. Someone says, hey, when's this internet going to start? They're waiting for their permit from IDOT because most of all the lines are in right of way, IDOT right of way. They applied for this permit months before he started working in the village. But until they get that paper, and that paper just signs off saying everything looks correct, it could happen just in a few minutes. They said they apologize, but we're not the only community that's waiting for this. All the other towns are waiting too, and people are impatient because we met with them about restoration in the village. We gave them a list of, we talked about out here, some of the folks that come to me and said, hey, what can we do about this? There's a hole in my yard, or we need some, a little bit of landscaping done here. We have a lot of places where they cut holes in the asphalt or in concrete and left it there. And the problem is you're driving at night, you hit that hole and you damage your car or a tire. And I said, I need you to come out here and address this. Let me know. He said they will take care of the concrete, the asphalt. As far as the seeding, they'll do it more in the fall of the year. Obviously, the weather's been not ideal for grass seeding. So we are staying on top of that. When I get more information, I'd like to see the internet start up. They came here, they ran all the wires, but they're waiting to start. One of the last things that I have, we've had some really extreme hot weather here. Remember that this building could always be used. The sheriff's department could contact Carl or myself or one of the trustees if we need a cooling center. We have a standby generator here, just like if we have a tornado come through, we have power and lights for people in the community. Feel free at any time when we need to open it up, we open it up. But check on your neighbors. Sometimes you don't see your neighbors for a few days. They're elderly people. It's been really hot. I don't know if they have air conditioning. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're trying to tough it out. But when the weather is 95 degrees and you're in the house, it's not too comfortable. And then watch your pets. We talked about pets a few minutes ago. Make sure your pets get a drink of water when they're thirsty. Whatever kind of pet you have, dog, cat, anything, take care of it. They're depending on you, so take care of your pets, watch your neighbors. Does anybody have any questions for me? That was about the. Does anybody have anything? Is there a need to go into executive session this evening? Do we have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you.